All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my custom D&D games set in one of my custom messed up D&D worlds. And the people below have issues because they put the lives of their characters in my hands, and that's just not a good idea.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any announcements. Oh, if you are watching this live, please to check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Trainer Jody, because Tasha's Cauldron of Everything released last week, and I've been putting up new content talking about everything from I did a review to it, and now I'm going over the different new options and new subclasses. So check that stuff out. It's pretty cool. Otherwise, I'm forgetting something, and sorry, I'm doing like this 7 things at once, and my brain is not working today at all. So if I seem frazzled, it's probably because I am. There we go. Okay, had to get Nightbot and everything put in. All right, so uh, I think it's time to dive back into the legend of the three kingdoms. After dealing with elemental forces beyond their reckoning, the party was able to finally take some downtime in the large city House Evro, which one party member had some history in. After going around doing some shopping and getting supplies, the party went to a local tavern that Vala had worked at years before. Meeting one of the higher up employees there from Vala's past, they had a relatively pleasant conversation, which Vala had previously feared might be a little tense with how abruptly she left. However, the most tense interactions were yet to come, as they were led off to a side room where they could speak without fear of being overheard, and could speak with the proprietor of the establishment. As you all sit in this side area, having your discussions, you hear the door open, and you all look to see a woman come into the room. Much like the rest of the populace of House of Rivero, this woman seemed to exemplify the vivid feast of the eyes that tended to be the dress style of the populace. Not only did she come in wearing a relatively extravagant looking dress. Um, the dress itself seemed to be enchanted as the various folds of a fabric seemed to continually move and accent certain aspects of her features, whether she was standing still or in motion, almost to a hypnotic effect. In addition to her rather extravagant garments, um, her hair itself uh, was multicolored, with large portions of it being a very deep black, deep enough for you to almost lose yourself in the darkness, but every so often cut with vibrant, bright purples and pinks. As she comes in, all of you can't help but straighten your posture slightly, adjust yourself to look as presentable as possible, to the point that some of you are a little bit surprised after you did to do that, because it was completely involuntary. She comes in and she flashes a smile that all of you but Vala find to be very warm and welcoming. Vala, on the other hand, you've seen this as a smile before. She looks at all of you, focuses on Vala. Well, I think it's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Are you going to introduce me to your friends?
Uh, yes, I'm sorry. This is Argenta. Um, this is Liliane. Over here we have Mr. Commander, I think, and this is our other friend, Theodore. And I will point to Henri when I say that.
When Vala points like that, I was like, "Oh, this is ridiculous," and I'll just rip off my mask. I'm done hiding. I don't care.
Oh, okay then. This is my friend Henri. Uh, everyone, this is Isadora Evero, the owner of the establishment of my former employer.
You see her take a deep kind of combination between a bow and a curtsy. And again, all of you now are kind of aware of some sort of magic involved in her that is strongly encouraging your gaze. Like, all of you are having a very difficult time not being just completely captivated by her. But at this point, it's becoming more and more obvious that it is a magical compulsion rather than an inherent involuntary action of your own bodies. And if you think hard enough, you can now resist the urge to just constantly stare at her. She comes over to Henri and just kind of places a hand on his shoulder. Don't worry. We're very used to some of our clientele wishing to remain an anonymous outside these walls. Inside these walls, you never have to hide who you really are for any reason. And then she kind of turns back to Vala. And again, Vala, if you didn't know her as well as you do, you wouldn't see the shift in her expression as she turned to you. Isn't that right, Vala?
Of course. Um, one would be foolish to try.
Most definitely. So, I hear there's one less shadow dragon in the world, thanks to you.
Yes, we were able to defeat it. Um,
With the help of a vampire elder, which I have to say is rather impressive. I've never heard of him leaving the capital so quickly.
well, um, we have some history.
Of course you do. So, now that we're done with our history lesson, to what do I owe the pleasure? I've been told that you may wish to speak with me.
Yes. Well, first, I want to apologize for the way that I left. I know it was sudden. Um, and I should have explained things at the time, but
Oh, most definitely you should have explained. It's rather impressive you were able to keep that as long as you did from me.
Hmm.
But I hope you understand now you never had to keep anything from me. And now even the rest of you can kind of feel the cold associated with that phrase.
I I thought I was doing the best for everyone by just leaving when I did.
Perhaps you shouldn't be choosing what is best for me.
You're right. I'm sorry. I've recently learned to put faith in others.
One would have thought you would have learned that a long time ago. Of course, being abducted by a vampire as a child can cause some trust issues. I understand that.
Yes. Well,
you do know you never told her that or spoke of it to her.
yeah, no, she's uncovered everything, I'm assuming at this point.
Hey, Jody.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way I could try to discern if this is like an illusion or if this is actually this individual?
Oh, sure. Make a
Without getting up, I just want to like look,
yeah.
see if there's anything off.
No, normally, you could use perception to just see if you could see through the illusion, or um, you could use insight if you wanted to more kind of figure out how this might be illusion and kind of logic it away.
No, I'm distracted by the prettiness, I guess.
Yeah,
She's real
like I
pretty.
said, the dress itself is gorgeous. It's not like big and floofy or anything like that, but it's also not this kind of slinky kind of thing either. It's got some give to it. There's a flowingness to it, but it does tend to hug certain features when they need to be accentuated. And like I said, it's remarkably hypnotizing.
Well,
So, guess we should return back to the question of to what do I owe the pleasure?
Well, and I'll kind of look to the others. We, uh, maybe in over our heads,
Oh, most definitely.
and we're hoping to maybe get some guidance.
You know, one of the most interesting things about Sanguinius, with the incredible amount of magic everywhere, the easily available magic items that can give you immense boosts in abilities and strength, still the most valuable thing in the kingdom is information. Seem to be very odd for someone with so much to simply give it away to someone she knows so very little about, has such a brief relationship with.
Well, I'm, I deserve that.
As you're sitting there, you hear a knock on the door, and she waves her hand, and the door opens, and you see a woman could come in, a little bit older than most of the serving staff you're used to seeing, but you recognize her because you work together. Except she has a scar that goes down her face and down her neck and is covered up by the relatively conservative clothing she's wearing, especially for Evro. And she comes in with a single pitcher of what you would assume is this spiced wine. Places it on the table, and places a tray of glasses there as well, and kind of looks and then nods to the proprietress and walks out. You remember your friend, don't you?
Of course.
You know, it's just the strangest thing. The connections that can happen without you even knowing it. See, I used to have this brilliant worker. She was wonderful, talented, loyal, but she got into some trouble that I could have very easily gotten her out of. Decided to take matters into her own hands, and then disappeared before paying for any of it. And the Blood Knights showed up at Maius' establishment, and while they would never be foolish enough to try anything with me, they did decide to try and punish me through my workers. Those Blood Knights don't exist anymore, and the end of their existence was very, very unpleasant. But they did leave a mark. Would anyone care for something to drink?
Gladly.
And you see her again wave her hand, and the pitcher starts pouring itself.
Okay, well,
Another wave, she places a cup in front of you.
okay, I'll drink from it. Just sipping on it.
As you do, this is really good stuff. It is close to a sangria, where it's a mixture of wine and fruit juices and things like that. And you're relatively certain magic has been cast on it to accentuate flavors, because it is very, very flavorful, very pleasant to drink. Though your own experiences with alcohol tells you that this is the kind of drink that you would get drunk on without realizing you're drinking alcohol.
Gotcha. I'll drink it slow then.
Vala is just like trying to avoid eye contact as much as possible, and just like like wringing her hands and just that was the thing. That's what I was trying to avoid. I just
Didn't quite work, did it?
no.
Had I known their intentions, or how important it was for them to find you, I probably would have taken different steps. But that's in the past, isn't it? I mean, it's just so easy for us to just place it in the past. It's not like there's any sort of reminder for us looking us in the mirror every morning, is there?
No. I've spent so long running from my past, from my mistakes. And it seems no matter what I do, innocent people get hurt.
And for the first time, you see her face soften ever so slightly, which again is unique, because she has, from your experience, she has such control over her physical expressions. That's a very difficult lesson to learn, isn't it?
Yes.
One would hope it would be a lesson one only need learn once.
Unfortunately, I keep making the same mistakes.
Might be something you want to work on. Perhaps even the most important thing you would ever work on in your life. So,
That's
what is this information you seek?
well. And I'll kind of like look at the others.
I just shrug.
We have been involved in various schemes. Someone appears to be opening portals.
I find that such a bizarre idea. I've
Well.
been to the Shadowfell and the Feywild even, which is a lovely place to visit. My knowledge of interplanar travel is limited at best, but the rules that were explained to me by the Laladrin says that's not really possible without some very bad things happening.
Yes.
You have. Do you have the ability to detect magic? Out of curiosity.
She just giggles. Please.
There's been something I've been able to do that's not really explainable, if you'd be so kind.
She kind of looks at you quizzically. What exactly are you asking for?
Um, I'd want your opinion on something, but you'd need to expand your vision to the magical realm.
You see her kind of close her eyes for a moment. She whispers a few things under her breath and waves her hands.
This is connected to all of it, and as soon as I finish that sentence, I'll mark her with Planar Warrior.
She continues looking at you.
Nothing?
About, magic of effect I am personally familiar with.
Seems to change what happens when I fight.
Perhaps you would be better off speaking with someone from House Laval. They more specialize in war magic and battle.
All right.
The aforementioned shadow dragon that we defeated came through one of these portals. That was created by killing 5 vampires.
Blood magic has always been a bit frowned upon. It's a very nasty, messy form of magic, and as much as there's been some study into it, the results tend to be remarkably unpredictable. And you're saying someone intentionally used it to do something that shouldn't really be possible.
Yes, we've seen we've seen it used in several different ways to create these portals. We also ran into someone out of character. Henri still has the mark, correct?
No.
Oh, the mark's gone.
It's
gone. We also ran into a vampire hiding out in the wilds of Fenrish who used blood magic.
Yes. Though I'm rather impressed, I still am unable to find his name.
Yeah, well, let's just say he left a mark on me. I will turn around and show whatever is left of that horrible wound I had.
Man, this is, again, and this would be the first time for anyone else that actually sees her kind of drop her facade for a moment. And you see her instinctively start to reach out and then catch herself. Slowly kind of wanders over there. For the briefest moment, just kind of grazes it and kind of pulls back. That is new. I've never seen this kind of magic before.
It's very old.
It's very
Possibly older than this kingdom.
Very wrong is what it is. It's difficult to classify it as magic. You could almost go as far as to say this is anti-magic.
It was preventing me from using any of my abilities.
I've never seen something so did it diametrically opposed to the weave in my life. This is very unique in the knowledge. Unique knowledge like this is worth quite a bit. Perhaps enough to answer the questions you originally came in here to ask. Though I will need time to study this with you before you leave.
Hey, Jody.
Yep.
What would the condition of the book I found in the Celestial, now Celeste layer, since I did go to the plane of water for an extended period, his journal?
Mostly illegible. There's still a few pages that weren't completely waterlogged. Yeah, that's what you
So
got now.
Pretty much useless to me then.
To you, yes. To someone else, possibly no. Magic can do a fair amount, but you do not possess any sort of skills that make it much more than a few sentences throughout the book that you can read.
Hey, Vala.
Yes.
And no offense to, and I'll point to our proprietor. Can she be trusted?
Yes.
I'll pull out the book that is practically useless. If you have means of restoring whatever, then this, and I'll hand it over, is his personal journal, dating hundreds of years. Hundreds.
And you see her kind of a flash a smile. And she gingerly takes it from you. I believe you may have misspoken as she kind of flips through it. This is not a journal, this is a sponge.
Yeah, I kind of had a trip to a place with a lot of water for an extended period afterwards.
Perhaps next time you could go to the beach, you should attempt to put the book down before swimming.
I'll remember that before I get sucked into another sphere of annihilation.
But I do have friends that are more gifted in this than I am. And she closes it. I'll look into this item. Could be very valuable.
Because I can no longer read it, so it's useless to me.
What other questions do you and your friends have?
One, we are on our way to the Blood Capital to meet with the Blood Council to discuss these matters. Can they be trusted?
Of course not. They're vampires. Not only that, they are powerful vampires. And not in that limited, obvious, magical power. Magic comes and goes. But the influence that they carry is far more dangerous than any spell. Whatever their reasons for calling you, they have told no one. I don't mean they've been secretive. I mean they have told no one. There are no whispers. There are no secrets. They have never spoken aloud the reason they called you. Are you aware how rare that is?
No. I mean, I never heard of anyone being called before the Blood Council.
Oh, it happens from time to time. Much more common for a vampire to be called than it is for a, well, lesser creature.
Hmm.
For all we know, we're just walking into a trap and they want no more witnesses about their devious plot.
Oh, not in the least. It's significantly easier to snuff out someone away from the capital than it is to do it inside the capital. The
That's the reason
amount
I left.
of magical wards and blood knights and the things, they would never be able to keep that as a secret. No, it would be much easier to lure you to some secluded area and then have a dragon finish you off or displace
Or-
the beasts. Something that didn't require us as a silencing.
I hate this place so much.
At least we're not being hunted by blood knights anymore. That's good.
Well, not all of them.
But would I know what that would be all the blood come operate?
To be perfectly honest, no one outside of high-ranking members of the houses knows actually how the Blood Council works. Everyone has kind of been told that it's effectively kind of a parliamentary system where they make laws and everything by discussing and taking the votes and things like that. But as far as how anything happens, no one knows. Non-vampires, it's this is so rare for a non-vampire to even be allowed into the citadel that makes up the capital, that it hasn't happened in like 200 years. So you would have a little more knowledge on some of the going-ons of the actual houses, since again they're removed from society. Most people don't. You know a little more than most. Vampires are still super secretive. So is there specifics you wanted to know?
We just don't know. I assume you haven't heard anything about the goings on Dorme.
Oh, yes. Dorme was a very nice community.
It was.
It doesn't exist anymore.
What happened? I mean,
Officially, there was a fire. A rogue red dragon appeared out of seemingly nowhere, torched the town, killed all the residents. It was very sad.
Really?
Thing about it, though, is the red dragon was never seen anywhere else. Aside from a few sightings that helped to plot the course of how it got all the way in to Dorme, and then somehow got all the way out. It's very strange.
and you say there were no survivors.
None at all, officially.
And unofficially?
Things are a little bit more complicated. You see, most people think anyone that speaks about this conspiracy theory is completely mad, because they talk about a creature of fire simply appearing in the middle of the town, and after it being vanquished, a blood knight showing up that fought with a group of superhumans is the best way to describe them. And then
Well,
the blood knight, instead of dying, burst into insects that disintegrated. I mean, anyone who has ever heard a story like that would immediately attribute it to fantasy.
Well, of course.
Absolute lunacy.
I mean, we're strong, but I don't know that I would call us superheroes.
Because of that, after the destruction of the town that everyone is completely aware of, anyone that claimed to be there was sequestered off to temples and other places for the ill. And then
So,
weren't heard from again.
Hmm.
Rather, they wouldn't have been heard from had it not been the fact that a benefactor from one of the vampire houses seemed to take an interest in these hurt people and secretly sequestered them away. Though which vampire house it was and where they're currently hiding, no one is aware of.
No, I've only ever met one kind vampire in my life.
They are a rare breed. One of the main reasons I don't associate with my family anymore. Of course, that feeling is mutual and not entirely voluntary, but we take what we can get.
So the vampires covered up what happened in Dorme.
That's the thing. The vampires didn't do it.
Then who did?
I think it was whoever is opening these portals would be my guess.
Yes. Though they are vampires.
Someone had a very vested interest in that never coming to light. Everyone
Yes.
I've spoken to is aware of what happened, but none of them had a hand into doing it. Even the ones that you might think would be more interested in such abysmal things like Dampierre and their necromancers. Nothing.
From at least what I've seen and what I've kind of deduced in my own head, the people doing this are vampires, but they're not official vampires.
It's theoretically possible. The fingerprints of the vampires were definitely there in Dorme. But vampires don't generally tend to go to Valakovia often.
Right. We've
And while
seen.
they will go to Fenrish every so often, they find lycanthropes to be disgusting. They would never think of using one for its blood. The blood is tainted. This is more than vampiric magic. I know we tend to be associated with blood, but your friend there, and she gestures to Lillian, knows very well that the ability to control blood and the power it gives you is not limited to vampires.
No.
Have you had a scouting party go to Dorme recently?
I have no scouting parties or anything similar to that. Though people have gone to the remains of it.
Did anyone speak of any ruins underneath?
There are no ruins above the ground, much less below.
I guess they didn't look hard enough.
The town was not just reduced to cinders or ash. The town has been wiped from the map.
Like it's just a
Wait.
crater?
No crater, no anything. There are no posts, holes
Doesn't
from
exist.
foundations. It has been erased from memory.
When was the last time you went there? The last time any of these groups went there, I should say.
Within the last month is the most recent reports I have been able to hear.
Well, we were there again before a month passed, so we undid whatever they did before.
Mm,
Because that was over a month ago when we broke that first blood magic container, right?
Quite a while ago.
You guys, since the campaign started, we're in month, I think, 3 or 4 at this point. I'd have to go back over it, but you guys have been together for roughly around like 3.5 of 4 months, and
Okay.
you met after the destruction of the Dorme.
So whoever's capable of this, aside from bringing creatures from other dimensions, what is it they want?
That is a fantastic question.
This is true. They just seem to leave the portals there and then wander off.
or they're experimenting, trying to find a way to create a stable portal.
Was there a distraction?
As someone who has done a fair amount of experimentation, and she smiles slightly, one of the
Vala
most
blushes.
important parts of an experiment is observing it to its completion. And yet every single one of these situations, you seem to arrive and no one is there to observe, indicating whatever they were experimenting for ended.
That's
They
true.
got what they wanted and left it alone. It's sloppy work to keep something hidden, but if whatever your plan is coming soon to fruition, then it really doesn't matter who knows about it and who doesn't.
Hey, Jody.
Yep.
All the portals we found, none of them were in Sanguinius, but Dorme, correct?
You've found 3 so far. One was in Sanguinius, one was in Valakovia, one was in Fenrish.
Plus
And-
the Shadowfell.
Oh yeah, the Shadowfell was a second portal in Sanguinius. So there's
Yes.
the 2.
So
The plane of water, plane of fire, Shadowfell, and Feywild, right? Yeah.
As far as you know, yes. To be perfectly honest, the Shadowfell and the Plane of Water are the only ones you've confirmed were connected there. The other 2 you've kind of inferred because of what came through. But
Yeah.
now, do you have a map of the 3 kingdoms by chance?
Again, she just kind of giggles, goes, "Please," and she kind of glances towards the door, and a relatively young boy, like no more than maybe 10 or 11 years old, comes in, and he places a kind of bundle of scrolls on the table, and then kind of just looks up at I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Is it Dora?
Yeah, Isadora, and she smiles at him, a genuinely warm smile, and you see him kind of get proud of himself and then walk out.
Now, I'll unfold them. Do I see one that's just of all three with all the major capitals, like kind of how you have?
Yep.
Right in there. Now, if we mark the location of every portal we've come across, do we pick up a pattern that could help us determine potentially, like, triangulating, I guess? Do we sense a pattern from the locations of all the portals if we put them on a map?
As you look, and I've just marked the other two portals on the map there.
All right.
Let me put the text near them. All right. So as you look at there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rhyme or reason as to where they are. Beyond the fact that and that's the other one there. But beyond the fact that three of the four portals were relatively close to the borders. But beyond that, there's no arcane sigil that forms from it. They seem relatively random.
Yeah, seems like the only thing I can ascertain is that, and there's just like a straight line essentially from the top left to the one in Valacovia. But other than that,
Yeah.
Well,
Although the fact that there are a border for the most part is kind of makes it
Your friend makes a good point. If the intention was to be secretive, there are much more, let's call them sequestered areas. The closer you get to the border, the more traffic you have to deal with.
was I aware that history of how the borders came to be?
Sorry, didn't catch all of it. What about the borders?
Was I aware the history behind how the borders were formed?
Oh, most people do. Effectively, you had millennia go. You had basically the three warring factions. You had the Valakovians, who felt that they had a divine calling to conquer this area. This is the Sanguinians, who were magic users that didn't have any vampires in them way back when. It was just people that were very into the arcane. And then you had the Fenrish, who were all about fighting and brutality. And what eventually happened was these three cultures just went to war for hundreds of years, and the borders were effectively where the battle lines were drawn. And eventually, peace talks, this has happened when the battle lines for close to 100 years didn't move almost at all. They had peace talks, and the Valakovians built this massive wall around, and then the Sanguinians created their magic barrier. And the Fenrish said, fuck it, you can come in anytime you want. We want to kill everything. So that's kind of where it is. The interesting part about the borders is generally borders will have some sort of physical aspect to them, whether it's a mountain or a river or something. There are no landmarks that would follow the borders. There's no rivers that go through it or anything like that. There's actually no rivers or bodies of water that actually go from one country into to another. So they are unique in the fact that they are entirely artificial borders. But beyond that,
Well,
So it wasn't like in real world after I was in the relatively fluid water.
yeah, no. Again, everywhere else, a border happens at some sort of physical limitation: mountains, rivers, valleys, whatever. This, as far as anyone's aware, these are the only entirely artificial borders, at least on the world. As far as planar ones, things get tricky once you go to other planes. But now that the barriers and wall and everything have been there that long, even if you were to destroy the wall and to take out the barriers, there are now very clear areas where you can see the barrier. The earth has been built up and packed down into certain places, so now there are physical marks to it. Millennia later.
What if whoever's doing this is trying to get an unstoppable army to take over the Three Kingdoms? Because look what we dealt with at the most recent portal.
they would have to have a means of controlling it.
Perhaps
Maybe that's what they're experimenting.
not. Perhaps it's not so much the creation of an army as it is
Us.
the creation of an advantage. The only thing that makes the Kale Isles envious to anyone are the porters to the Feywild and to the Shadowfell. Without those, no one would care about a small collection of islands. Interplanar trade negotiations until the barrier went up. They all had to be done through the KKK Isles. It turned the native orcs of that land into a superpower. If one of the kingdoms were to have their own gateway to any plane they wanted, they could set up to trade negotiations with anyone. They could recruit allies. They could prevent other kingdoms from having any relations with the other planes without paying some sort of fee, without swearing fealty. I mean, it would disrupt the very delicate balance that these kingdoms have been built on for thousands of years.
Maybe that's what they're targeting.
Definitely.
Isn't it? They want to create chaos and let the wars re-ensue.
Possibly.
Beginning to think now that whoever's doing it is trying to make their kingdom either a superpower or become their own superpower and make a fourth.
It's a good theory. The only issue with it that I see is the only way to confirm it is to wait for them to strike, and I just don't see that being a very beneficial outcome.
No, I don't either. And I've just kind of been looking over the map. Is being like having trained and practicing my ranger abilities now, just looking at the areas that these portals have popped up, is there any sort of geological or natural similarity between the areas in the world?
Good question. Make me a survival check.
Okay. Good. My survival should be +6, so 23.
Not bad. Um, the one kind of linking for the factor for all these places has effectively been the ability to create very different elevation differences. With the tree and the Dorme and the Shadowfell portal, they were all in areas that had a relatively high bedrock and the ability to carve an area below where the portal would be created. In Fenrish, because that particular lake was unique in the fact that it dropped so quickly from the shore, you had this very large elevation difference between where they kept the lycanthrope and where the portal actually appeared. So,
All right.
had they been built somewhere else with maybe like a more agrarian part, like half of Valakovia is a agrarian farmlands kind of stuff, you could not have built an underground chamber with the topsoil going down that far. It wouldn't have worked. They wouldn't be able to build it out enough to make something solid.
Okay, I'll point that out. Kind of mention maybe that's why Valakovia hasn't been seeing too many of these.
It's possible.
Well,
That
we also know,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we know another reason why they chose Dorme.
Yeah. Now, Magenta, aside from me, with your ability, do you get any readings of anything nearby?
You mean planar abnormalities?
Yeah, aside from me.
I can, if I'm within a certain distance of a rift between the planes, I can sense it.
You
and
don't
as you
sense anything
say
now?
this, Isadora again drops her facade a little bit and looks genuinely surprised, and she kind of wanders over. You are a very interesting person. Very much like to discuss this with you sometime. Perhaps when things die down a bit.
I just kind of give her a nod. The power came with the other one I tried showing you earlier.
Interesting. Vala, your friends are full of surprises.
Yes.
I can see why you like them so much.
Henri, what were you going to ask?
I was going to ask if you were able to sense anything nearby aside from me.
Let me check. I'll just kind of. How big is the city? Are we like close to the wall or whatever?
So the way vampire cities are set up is you have the actual quote-unquote house, which is its own kind of self-contained city, and it is always built at a higher elevation than the rest of the town. So the vampires are always physically above their subjects, and then the city itself spreads out in a circular pattern from the house. So almost all the cities are circular generally. Sometimes they'll be a little more oblong, but the vampire city is always at this as a center.
Okay.
Evro is not a massive city compared to the other houses. It's on the smaller-ish side, but you're still talking about from end to end. You're still talking about like 2.5 miles to
Okay.
diameter. So it's
And
a
we'd
decent
be-
sized city, but it's not expensive.
And we'd be on the outskirts because we're not in the house.
No, you
portion.
are. The tavern is right at the base of where the Vampire City starts. There's a large staircase that goes up into the Vampire City, and this is right next to that staircase.
Okay. I'll just be, well, I can't venture that far into the outskirts from here, but I just kind of close my eyes and I'll use my planer's, what is it called? Detect portal.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, the only thing kind of pinging in your head is Henri, as he's been doing since he got back.
I just kind of shake my head. There's no disturbance nearby.
I only ask because of you remember our incident down in the Temple of the Dark Lady.
Right, that was That was when I got my abilities.
As a side note to you all, that didn't happen.
Of course.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what Valakovia has told the world.
Yes, of course.
Does seem rather interesting that before Dorme was destroyed by a dragon, there were terrorists there that went on the run and then were captured in Valakovia and executed, thus removing any issues.
Yes.
On a side note, we tend to call ourselves International Incident.
It's a fitting name.
The king will pay for that one, I believe.
Yes,
one day.
You see her giggle for a moment. Yes, I'm very sure the leader of an entire country will be subject to the whims of a single person. Definitely. Though with the fact that you almost have a musketeer in your employ, perhaps things are different than I thought.
So we've established that the Blood Council cannot be trusted.
Of course they can't.
But
neither can most people, to be honest. To find a person you can truly trust is an extremely rare thing. However, to get to a point where you can trust someone will take certain actions, much easier.
And I believe, if we believe the Blood Council is not behind this, it doesn't sound like they are.
No,
I don't know quite yet, but
Then perhaps they will act within.
This is far too sloppy for their taste and too public.
Then perhaps we can trust that they will act in their own self-preservation.
Yes, but is their self-preservation better with you alive or dead? Is the real question.
What if I can't remember his name? I just call him number 1 on my list. What if he's part of the people behind this? Because he was really excited when he came to investigate that portal. Maybe that was his first opportunity. to see firsthand what it was capable of.
No, you mean the wizard.
Yeah,
Hmm.
certainly capable of.
He was a nerd. He enjoyed knowledge for its own sake.
He
Knowledge is
has
power, my friend.
visited my tavern a few times over the years, decades, century. He is a child. He sees something shiny, he likes it. He gets obsessed for a little while and then he throws it away like an unwanted toy.
Just out of curiosity, because I might have gotten a little zealous speaking vampire in front of him. How powerful is he?
Oh, he is by far one of the most powerful wizards in Sanguinius.
I'll cool it with the vampire in front of him.
Yes, he is a child with everything that implies. He does not control his emotions. He can be arrogant. He can react very poorly to situations. He's entitled.
Aren't they all?
Upsetting him has ended the life of more than a few very powerful nobles. It's
And
one
you
of the
made him eat
reasons
an
the
animal's
council
blood?
keeps him on such a short leash.
How long is his attention span?
Depends. The attention I have observed was remarkably quick. Very, very quick. Most would be embarrassed with how little attention he had.
I will not mention that to him.
Of course not. I would, of course, never speak of that to anyone, ever.
I totally did not feed him a muskrat.
I might be the only one in the room who has no clue what you're talking about. Genuinely.
Probably for the best.
Oh right, Henri, I fed a vampire a muskrat, and he drank its blood.
Oh, no, that I understood. You forget I spent the better part of my life in a temple.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And not one of the fun temples.
No.
So,
The nurturing gardener, there's a lot of aspects in the nature that involve more fun aspects of life.
Is there a special date in that house that they all like so much? I wonder.
Just spring in general tends to be a really fun time. The Tempro, the nurturing gardener, very nurturing.
God, all I can think of is
Things get hazy.
the epic rap battle line between Bo and Yasha. Want to use extract aspects.
Look up the Rite of Spring by Stravinsky sometime. People fainted in the audience because it was such a vulgar song. And then Disney turned it into the dinosaurs.
As you do.
Anyway, but back to the game.
Yes. Well, so we don't really know anything about who's behind all of this. I don't remember the name of the Lord that we found out about in that tent back in Dormay.
Of course you do. Your dungeon master, being incredibly talented and always keeping to the track of things, would have that written down somewhere. Let's just call him Lord Dormay for right now, because for the life of me, I can't remember his name.
Right. I know I wrote it down at some point.
Remember it.
Yeah. I will mention the name of Lord Dorme and say, does that ring any bells?
Mine and a noble, not very attractive, thinks he's more important than he actually is. He considers himself a bit of a legal scholar. Has tried to weasel his way into the good graces of a few of the houses by writing contracts in deceptive ways, using archaic laws and the things like that to attempt to claim ownership over things that he doesn't.
Like, for instance, Dorme.
Possibly. With the fact that it doesn't exist anymore, all deeds and the titles and other things like that were destroyed before anyone I knew could actually read the documents.
Well, we ran into him or his agents back before everything went down in Dorme. They were trying to take over the town and kick out all of the people.
I have no confirmation of this, but he feels like a pawn. Someone who thinks he's smarter than he really is very easy to manipulate.
We may want to pay him a visit someday. Any idea where he would be? Or if he would even know?
He is a minor, non-vampiric noble that lives in House Merovingian. He's one of the human nobles, so I would assume he's on his estate there.
So again, I found 3 names.
Was useful. To my knowledge, he hasn't been killed or silenced or anything, so I would assume he's still being useful to someone, mostly because everyone else that is no longer useful has died.
I found 3 names in my notes, by the way. Kanan, and I wrote Vampire Noble who hired somebody. Mordecai and Lord Veninquest.
I think
Lord
Veninquest
Veninquest
was the good guy.
Mordecai.
So glad you guys keep good notes.
Yeah. And Mordecai was the one who exploded into insects.
Yeah. So Kynan is the only one that's, I guess, unaccounted for from that scenario.
Well, I guess the other question I have, how much do you think we can trust Leopold?
Love is a very powerful thing, and it is exceedingly rare, much more rare than the general populace would care to admit. True love comes once in a generation. I do not know your feelings for him, nor do I know his feelings for you, but his actions I do know. They are not the actions of a rational man. Take that for whatever you believe it to be.
Okay, then. Oh.
As far as meeting with the Blood Council, be observant. You'll be going in a place very, very few have ever gone. Nothing they say is what they mean. The game is confusing for people that are good at playing it. Blood Council are not simply good. They control it. They define it. Any question they ask, assume the answer is irrelevant. They will ask questions to get your reactions. Or to get you to admit things they want you to admit.
It's the reason I left this place so long ago.
It's the reason a lot leave. Though it's remarkable how quickly back taxes can prevent that.
Yes. Well,
It's usually why our business here was short.
yes, we'll be in and out quickly, hopefully.
Well, I guess I have some good news for you.
Yes?
Because of what happened, it seems that you will no longer be traveling by road.
Really?
An expert in teleportation magic has arrived about an hour ago in the Vampire City.
Hopefully they can wait.
When you do leave from here, you will be going directly to the Blood Capital.
I don't know about you guys, but I hate portals now.
Really, Argento?
Yeah, me too.
Oh, come on, they're not that bad.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have any room to talk.
At least this will be on the same plane.
And a lot less painful.
I never said that.
Well, it can't be as painful.
Anyway, it's been interesting meeting you all. I wish you the best of luck. Please feel free to enjoy my hospitality again if you ever could come through. Oh, and Vala.
Yes.
And she walks over to you and she places a hand on your shoulder. It was good seeing you again.
It was. And I'm...
You really shouldn't be such a stranger. And with that, she turns and walks out the door.
Wait, I have something for you! Oh. Did she leave, or?
She very quickly just walked out the door. And the door shut behind her.
Okay.
A few moments later, the door opens up, and you see your other friend. Oh, wow. Just wow. And he comes over and he just sits next to you, Vala, kind of throws an arm around you. I don't know what you did, Vala, but wow. Just wow.
It went better than I expected.
That's good. It's very good. I was, gotta say, I was a little bit worried, but yeah. Do you know she smiled?
Yeah, I
Do you
saw
know how
that.
long it's been since I've seen an actual smile from her, like a real one?
Jody?
Yep.
Is this the guy outside that Argento got it, or is it getting information from? That same guy?
Yeah. Again, remind me of his name. I have this all.
Axelrod.
Say again.
Axelrod.
Axelrod, yeah. This is his Axelrod. He was the first guy you guys spoke to that was sitting at the bar. And immediately saw through your disguises. That guy. Well, I've been told to give you guys rooms if you're here long enough, and all your food and drinks on the house. So,
Well, I'll ask the others. Do we want to stay here, or do we want to press on and let?
I need my shield, which is finished tomorrow.
Okay. It's probably late now. Well, I could go up to the castle, meet with Leopold, let him know that we're here, let him know that we have business to attend to in the morning, and then we can travel.
sounds like a plan. The chef's cooking up something special tonight. You should definitely give it a try. Even if you guys don't want us to stay here, stay for dinner. We'll be serving in about an hour or so.
Okay.
Definitely stay for dinner. She's gotten even better since you were here last, Vala.
Really?
You will be impressed. And there's not a whole lot of guests tonight, if you know what I mean. So you can have a little bit more intimate discussions without having to worry about too many other people.
Okay then.
You came on a slow night. What can I say?
Yeah. I do, and I will reach into my bag and pull out an acorn and say, I did want to give this to Isadora.
And he kind of looks at it. Ah, yeah.
We made some friends.
Oh, you
And-
made some very special friends. And he kind
We
of
did.
tosses it in the air. Very special.
And I think Isadora may be interested in meeting with them.
I'll be sure to give it to her. And he puts it in a shirt pocket.
Okay.
So, I know she got you some sangria, but you've got loads of other stuff at the bar. Anyone want something a little stronger? Something you can actually taste the boozes in it?
I could use something stronger.
All right.
After.
Have one of the boys come in, take your orders. You just chill and relax. Oh, Vala.
Yeah.
We did get a missive while you're in. Your friend is here with his friends. And, yeah, Dora didn't really want them in the tavern, so if you want
I
to meet him
will-
somewhere else.
I will go out and meet with him.
All right, then. All right, let's get some booze, okay?
Yeah.
And he wanders out, and
I want to follow him.
okay. The rest of you see the two waiters come in with notepads to take orders and things like that. And they start getting your orders.
I will get some form of whiskey,
Okay.
and then I will head outside to meet with Leopold.
Okay. Henri, as you're going out following him, he kind of notices, like, so, what can I do for you?
Well, you're helping out a friend of mine. How much would it be to just find out how someone's doing, just their well-being?
Well, it depends on how important the person is. You know, little, I guess important's kind of a mean thing. How popular they are. Unpopular, unknown people, we don't know about them. But if they're popular and enough, we could find out info about them.
Well, I could tell you exactly where the last area I saw her was, and chances are she's still there.
All right? Who are you looking for? I'll see what I can do.
Have you heard of the town of Tristra? It's just southeast of the Temple of the Guiding Beacon, like almost on the coast. Do that like
Doesn't ring a
bearish.
bell, but I don't know Valakovian geography that well.
Well, I just want to know if, when I was growing up in We were both acolytes in the Guiding Beacon. I just want to know if she's still alive. I left rather abruptly.
Okay, I'll need a name.
Her name's Korba. She's a female dwarf.
Dwarf named Kukakorba. We'll see what we can do. Further out of Sanguinius becomes a little more difficult. Little unknown acolyte. I can't promise you anything, okay? But I'll do what I can.
Yeah, it's not a rush. It's been almost 2 years. Just want to know how she is, really.
I'll look into it. Tell you what, you're probably going to be gone, but before I get this information, I'll message you. If we find out anything, I'll message you.
Thank you.
All right. Now I got drinks to make, and he gets behind the bar and he starts going crazy with drinks, and he's looking at tickets and the things like that. And it's kind of impressive just how natural he looks behind the bar.
And then I'll follow Vala so she's not alone.
Okay. Commander Argenta Lillian, do you guys want to do anything other than drink? Are you happy getting drunk and then fed?
I'm not drinking.
Okay.
I'm just sipping on some rum and enjoying the space.
Yeah, I just sip a glass of white wine.
Okay. So you guys get to kind of enjoy the little VIP lounge you're in. A few girls and guys could come in to keep you company. Vala and Henri, as you guys will walk out, you immediately see across this street a small company of Blood Knights with Leopold near them, and as he sees you, he kind of just looks up and motions you over.
I will walk over.
Hi, it's great to see you. You have interesting friends. Friends
I
that
do.
are not particularly fond of Blood Knights.
No.
Yeah.
I hope there wasn't any trouble.
No. Though, I sincerely doubt I will be welcome there anytime soon.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I got nothing I can do about that, but...
Plans have changed. They're not giving me enough Blood Knights to protect you all the way to the Blood Capital. They've sent a teleportation specialist to bring us there.
Interesting.
As soon as possible. So we can leave tonight if you're all ready.
Unfortunately, I don't believe we will be able to. One of my associates, and I'll gesture on Henry, has some business, some things to pick up in the morning, since we thought we would be traveling. But we'll be ready to go. How long is the shield going to take?
They said it was like 30 or so hours, but that was when we first got here, so we've been here for the day as far as I remember.
Yeah, effectively tomorrow, like mid-morning, you should be able to pick it up.
So yes, we should be able to go. If he gets that mid-morning, once he has that, we'll be ready to leave.
Okay, then. I'm gonna head back to the city.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and as you guys are speaking, two girls in super bright and relatively revealing clothing walk by. He goes, "There's a lot out here. I'm gonna go back. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'm glad to see you as well.
Yeah.
And we'll see each other in the morning.
Yeah. Blood Knights can't go in, but I'll leave them out here, just to make
Okay.
sure no one bothers you.
We'll be fine. They'll look after me as well.
Right. Okay. I've got to go. Okay.
Right. Okay.
All right. And he kind of shuffles off as the rest of the blood guards are just sitting there sighing.
I swear my dad had an affair because it's like looking at a brother I didn't know.
Anything else you guys will want to do before heading in for the night?
I will some of that delicious dinner that we were about to have.
Mhm.
I will give the one of the servers. I'll give them like 15 gold
Okay.
to take some out to the Blood Knights.
They won't do it for anything less than 100.
I will give them 100 gold.
Okay. And you notice this is not like the waiter being shady or trying to pocket extra money.
It's just actually
Yeah.
that is the cost of this meal.
Yeah.
That's fine. I should have known. I will give them 110 gold.
Okay. You are pleased to see the food goes out there without any additional ingredients added to it.
Of course.
So
This is a classy place.
Well, it seems the payment ensured that the original menu was used when it was given to them.
Got it.
Do we happen to know what deity Leopold worships?
Yes. His holy symbol on his shield is that of the guiding beacon.
That's right.
Which is hilarious because he's a vampire that worships the sun.
Why am I picturing him like every morning, praise the sun, ow, 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 and like running back
just
in?
goes, burn. Yeah, it's there actually is a contingent of clerics and paladins in Sanguinius that do will worship the guiding beacon, but they're very different than most of the guiding beacon worshippers in the fact that their worship is kind of considered a penance, and their goal of worship is to prevent the sun from shining as often as possible so that they don't die. So it's a really weird, very dark religious sect that most people don't enter into voluntarily. It's generally a child is given as almost an appeasement from a vampire house.
Almost sound like a graduation box.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're very much about, pain is a sign of devotion. So you could almost see like monks of the long death tend to show up in their ranks every so often. and yeah, remarkably similar to the pain bearers of Ilmater. If you're familiar with Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, I'll just head back in and join the others and drink heavily.
The dinner itself is beyond impressive. Not only are the foods themselves cooked to perfection, and you have everything from rare proteins, everything from fish that you can't really catch in this part of the world. You've got venison and livestock steaks and things like that, all the way to rare fruits and things like that don't grow in this season. And on top of all that, everything is magically enhanced to enhance its flavors and things like that. So yeah, very very nice dinner. When you awaken, is there any other stuff you guys want to do before you teleport to the blood capital?
I just want to pick up my shield and that's it.
Yep. You have no problem getting your shield. You pay. I think you put half up for front, right?
Yeah, I think it was another 200 I owed.
Yep. So you pay for it. You've got your eyeball shield, and it even blinks.
Once we are in the Vampire City, I would like to inquire about obtaining some regents. So our spell components?
Right. Yeah. Whatever you want is provided. Also, when you will wake up in the morning, on the table next to your bed is a little note that says, I enjoyed the gift, and there's a potion of superior healing.
Ooh. Excellent. I'm looking for a diamond. Wait. Where'd it go? You said superior healing, right?
Yes.
I'll have to make note of that. I am looking for diamonds worth 300 gold and a gilded flower worth 300 gold.
Aha! Diamonds are super easy to find. The gilded flower you cannot find here.
Okay. I will have to inquire about that elsewhere.
So go ahead and take the gold out for the diamonds. Seeing those are one of the few things they won't just give to you here. But
yeah, I figured.
Go ahead.
Could I go to a blacksmith and get 25 gold worth of powdered silver?
Yes, this is super easy.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. So you guys are led into the Vampire City, and I think you guys have been. Have you been to a Vampire City before? I'm trying to remember.
As prisoners.
As prisoners, there we go. So you've been in a Vampire City once before, not in Evro. Again, the first thing you guys notice is, first of all, how dark it is just in general because of the cloud cover. And how almost pristine everything is around you. There's no grime on the streets. Everything is just very, very collected. All the people that walk around seem to walk around with purpose. Even the ones that look to be just kind of wandering around and speaking with each other walk very directly. None of them make eye contact with you at all. A few intentionally avert their gazes so as not to acknowledge you even exist.
Hmm.
And you're taken relatively quickly to a kind of nondescript building near the center. And as you enter, you see on the floor arcane sigils and things like that inscribed into a teleportation circle. And as you get in there, you see a bald vampire wearing deep red robes that obscure just about everything, except for his hands, and have absolutely no markings on them, nothing. As you all come in, he kind of nods at you. He looks to Leopold, who nods, and then Leopold turns to you. I can't come with you. They're going to teleport me there, but I have to stay outside the blood capital, or the council chambers. I can't be with you.
Okay.
Be careful.
I will be.
And he
We will
turns
be.
and he nods, and you guys feel the feeling of magic kind of building up, kind of static charge on your skin. The world starts to get very, very bright, and suddenly everything is very, very dark.
I immediately tense up because this is familiar. I tense up expecting the pain of the last time this happened to me.
Oh, that would be the wrong music. There we go. As you'll look around, you're in a pitch black room. You can't tell, even those of you with the dark vision, you don't see anything. And you realize it's because the room that you're in is larger than your dark vision will see, so there's nothing to see. As you're standing there looking around, Vala, you look around and notice Leopold's not here.
Hello?
As you say that, you hear the sound of a torch igniting. You see two torches about 100 feet away light into being. And then every 10 feet you see all around you these braziers. I think that's the wrong word. Sconces, there we go. Sconces on the wall light up, and you guys are in a room that's about 200 feet in the diameter, mostly circular. The walls are angled, not curved, but it's in a circular shape. And at the far end, you see a set of stairs leading up that you can't see where they go.
There's no one in the room.
No one.
Argenta.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know if we're still on our normal plane?
I'll just let my focus drift and see if I sense anything planar.
As you extend your awareness outward, nothing.
I don't sense anything strange, other than, well, the ping I get from you.
Can't help the feeling that we're walking into a trap.
They're vampires. It'll always be this way.
Well, the usual, me and you in the front.
Yes, I suppose so.
Oh, I guess it's not usual, but it is now. And
I'll follow.
Is it wide enough for me and Argenta to kind of walk side by side, so we're in the front?
Yeah, the staircase itself is about 10 feet wide. It's a remarkably large staircase. The floor and the walls themselves look to be made of some black metal. It looks similar to obsidian, but it is metallic. And as you get close to it, it has a sheen that you would think would be reflective, but nothing reflects on the metal itself.
I guess we go up the stairs.
Yeah, that's the only path I see.
As you all will walk up these stairs, you start hearing the sound of conversation. It starts off very, very slight, but as you get closer and closer, it becomes louder and louder. The voices themselves don't seem to be yelling or anything like that. They just seem to be very naturally loud, voluminous voices. As you come up, you come into a room. The room itself is about 60 feet in diameter. It seems to be lit entirely with natural light, which is very bizarre for any vampire place. But the light is coming through stained glass windows that surround the entire room. On the other end of the hallway, you see a large U-shaped table with 6 seats on the right part, 6 seats on the left part, and then a single seat on the top part, and an area in the center with a slightly raised dais. In each of the seats, you see various vampires wearing extravagant clothing. Some of them are covered head to toe in jewels and precious stones. One of them is wearing obviously ceremonial armor with a greatsword strapped to its back. That you're not sure if it's ceremonial or just very, very magical, because it has gold and precious gems inlaid all throughout it. The amount of wealth contained just in the clothing on the display here could probably feed the population of a small house, and by a small vampire house city. And as you all step into the room, all speaking stops. Some of you can almost feel a pulse to the room. Just almost inaudibly, this kind of driving sound. The one in the center stands up. On behalf of the Blood Council, I welcome you and ask you to step forward.
Vala will step forward.
Yeah, stepping forward in the front.
Same.
As you all are kind of directed to the dais, you have been requested to present testimony of strange events that have been happening both inside and outside our borders. Do you agree that you will give truthful testimony on pain of death?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I nod, but don't actually say anything.
Same.
This hearing is in session. The noble house Artois relinquishes control of the floor. As he says that, a woman stands up a little bit straighter. She herself is wearing kind of very form-fitting clothing. She has a rapier strapped to her hip. And compared to the other weapons that you guys have seen, this one is functional, obviously functional. And she goes, House Valois would like to ask the first question. The rest of the table kind of nods. She turns to you all. There have been rumors that you have observed instances of desiccation of corpses in order to perform blood magic on them, correct?
Yes.
We prefer it if you speak when asked a question. Moving forward. You are aware blood magic is illegal outside assigned permissions from the blood capital, yes?
Yes.
And yet you did not report these findings to any of the houses so that we may investigate, find who did it, and arrest them for crimes.
With all due respect, we attempted to, but were falsely imprisoned.
We are aware of this situation of your capture and trial. That was not endorsed by the blood capital. It was a rogue noble who has been dealt with. Nevertheless, observation of a crime without reporting it is a crime in itself.
In all fairness, we have been attempting to get back here ever since then, though our path has been very long and winding.
As you say that, the Lord in the highly ceremonial armor speaks up. House Levol requests the floor from House Valois. Valois relinquishes the floor to the normal lord of House Laval. What you describe seems to defy logic. My blood knights patrol the perimeter of this wonderful country. They are present in every city, yet they have never reported any of these situations that seem to happen so frequently with you. How do you explain the frequency of bizarre things happening to you that have never happened in these borders before?
I have no explanation.
Eh,
Aside from very, very bad luck.
If I will say that I have led them to these portals we otherwise would have walked past. I can sense disturbances out to a mile.
So you admit you are connected to the blood magic. I have
No.
no further questions for the accused. A bald gentleman in very flowing silk robes goes, Lord Laval, you may be quick to pass judgment here that is unwarranted. May I have the floor from your excellency? Fine. Lord Laval acknowledges Lord Girard. Thank you. Now, you say you can sense these portals. Is this a skill you have developed? Could you perhaps teach me how to do it?
I'll undo the button on my shirt so I can show the mark on the center of my chest. I was struck by planar energy, and since then, if I focus over my heart, I can do things that I otherwise was not able to.
As you say that, a very small vampire, significantly shorter than the rest, with kind of a deep beard and hair that doesn't look quite as kempt as the rest of them, immediately goes in, that's not possible. I have it right here. Planar travel has been impossible for almost 600 years. Planar energy does not exist here. He is obviously lying. And Lord Girard goes, I have not yet relinquished my control of the floor. I understand how excited you sometimes get. Lord Mercure, but let's keep some sense of decency. I do not need to be lectured by someone who believes in seeing the future and all of that hoity-toity. My knowledge is all documented. All of you have gained quite a bit of power from all of the work me and my house have done for centuries. Lord Artois, I believe he should be silenced from speaking to me in such a matter. All of us are becoming very heated. I must ask the council to remember themselves while we have guests present. And Lord Mercure just kind of goes back to writing things.
If I am allowed a target of sorts, I can prove there's some sort of planar energy in me.
Oh, I don't think any of us doubt there is planar magic within you. I think what the noble Lord Mercure was referring to was the idea somehow this happened by accident. What exactly caused you to be touched by the planes?
A rift opened before me, and it called to me, and when I approached it, I was struck in the chest and nearly died.
So this happened at one of these planar events that you have all closed.
I kind of think for a moment, but then remember we made that deal and I don't want to fuck with vampires. This happened in Valakovia, an event I still don't completely understand.
Valakovia? That's interesting. Where exactly in Valakovia did it happen?
Beneath the temple to the Dark Lady.
So this was divine in nature.
It seemed to be.
It's very interesting. My seers have not noticed the intervention of the gods recently. Seems strange they would intervene with those such as yourself when they refuse to intervene in so many others' situations. I return the floor to the noble Lord Artois, and he sits down. Thank you. These situations are very bad for everyone involved. In Fenrish, you destroyed an area very large. Nothing survived.
I did.
And he kind of looks at you with this look that makes your heart skip a beat for just a second. Do not interrupt a member of the council. As I was saying, the most recent issues you have created in northern Sanguinius resulted in the release of a shadow dragon. Shadow dragon that no one has been able to account for. We found no body, no marks. How do you explain this?
I'll pull up the dragon scale that I have.
Where is the rest of the body?
Eh.
The dragon scale could be found shed, for all I know.
We slew the beast and then it disappeared the following morning.
Convenient for you, yes? As he says this, you see a younger vampire wearing somewhat thick glasses, gold rings, chains going around them. He's wearing a doublet with what looks like gold coins as the buttons and gold inlaid throughout of it. Excuse me, Lord Artois, might I have the floor? The floor is given to House Nicolay. Wonderful. Um, dragons don't tend to just disappear, do they? Rhetorical question. You don't have to answer that. However, if a dragon were unleashed on a land per se, and it desired to not be found, they might become very difficult to find. They wouldn't vanish, disappear from existence, though they might vanish from visible sight. Is it possible that's what happened with the dragon you slayed? That is not a rhetorical question.
Do you know what
out of
happens
character
to a shadow
question.
dragon when they die? That's not a rhetorical question. I'm asking a question.
Of course we do. We are children of the Shadowfell. Our ancestors lived there for millennia before your ancestors did anything. And you see him kind of catch himself. I sometimes forget that we do not have someone who understands how to properly address his superiors.
Jody, out of
Yep.
character question,
Mhm.
did we see like the body dissolve?
No. You guys came back and the body just wasn't there. But there was
Okay.
no drag marks or anything like that, or pieces of it. It just wasn't there.
But it really seemed dead.
I mean, you guys chopped it up.
Right.
Like, if it wasn't dead, it probably would have protested when you were cutting parts of it off.
So, I will say, back in character, my lord, we did not cause these events. We've merely happened upon them. Your own, our own escort, who brought us here, witnessed us, tried to talk us not into investigating it ourselves, but we felt the need to make sure that this event was closed before anything bad could come through, like the Shadow Dragon. We did kill the Shadow Dragon. I don't know what happened to the body. I cannot explain that. But it was dead. And the wizard who aided us in closing the portal, I'm sure he would tell you that we risked our very lives fighting the beasts that were anchoring these portals.
Oh, I'm sure he would tell us quite a lot of things. His magical knowledge is great, but his truthfulness less so. I return the floor to the noble Lord Artotois. A woman who has been kind of just sitting by herself. She doesn't quite have the posture that everyone else has. Wearing much more almost casual clothing. A kind of long, flowing blouse. You can't see what she's wearing on her legs because they're hidden by the table. She goes, "May I have the floor?" The floor is given to the Lord Domont. Wonderful. So, you must see it from our perspective. You see, we keep hearing of this band of adventurers that, seems to be carving a path of destruction throughout our country. They keep blaming it on blood magic, which we do find little bits and pieces that seem to support that, but it can't tell us who's doing it. I mean, to an average observer, it would sound like you're using blood magic and then blaming it on the boogeyman. How else are we supposed to look at this? That there's some unknown force out there that somehow has the ability to set up these elaborate contraptions that cause impossible things to happen, and then you always seem to find them. Doesn't that just sound a little convenient to you?
Well, if I may. This blood Thank you. My lords, this blood magic is well beyond our small capabilities. I have heard from so many greater beings than myself that this is impossible, that it cannot be done, that none of it makes sense, and yet it is. We are lesser creatures by our very nature. If you believe it to be impossible, how do you believe that we would have the ability to do so?
If I may. And you see the Lord the Domant goes, House, I return the floor and acknowledge Lord Corsalon.
What's been described here is impossible. My family has studied the elements, controlling them, shaping them to our will for as long as it has existed. What has been described here and observed only by you is impossible. But the ability to cause widespread destruction using elemental powers, that is very possible. If you'd like, I can give you a demonstration.
And at that, Lord Artois, Lord Corsalon, we do not need a demonstration.
I'm tired of this farce. We know who it is that's doing this.
Lord Corsalon, you are no longer acknowledged. Take your seat. And he sits down. Are there any others who have questions for the accused? And everyone kind of goes around and they all shake their heads. Based on the information given, all those who believe the culprits creating these abominations are the people we see before us, raise your hand. 6 of the vampire lords raise their hand. All those that do not believe them capable and therefore are not a part of this plot, raise your hands. 4 of the vampires raise their hands. All those that wish a further investigation, the remaining 2 raise their hands. As of right now,
there is not a majority among the Blood Council that agrees on the outcome. Therefore, I will not pass judgment. However, the fact remains, if you are what some of us believe we are, you are far too dangerous to leave wandering around. For the time being, you will be kept in the Blood Castle capital. Wow, very difficult for me to say. You will be kept in the Blood Capital prison, awaiting our final decision. And as you guys have been kind of watching this, that sound has just been going. It's very rhythmic, and it just won't go away.
Do I recognize this?
Make me history check.
I was gonna ask, does this bring back any memories of the Dark Lords? The blood flowing through the walls.
14.
Make me a history check with advantage, Vala. 14. It sounds familiar to you. But you can't quite place it.
15.
15. Again, trying to connect it. Something about this is reminding you of the Dark Lord, but you're not sure what it is. The sound is not something you remember from the Dark Lord, but something about this just feels similar.
Different question.
Mm-hmm.
Do I recognize anyone on the council from my time in Under the Dark Lord?
No.
Okay. Like if I saw his number 2.
Yeah, none of them look familiar to you. Lillian, did you have something?
Yeah. 2 questions. What is the sound remind me of the pulsing from way back in Friendly? And who would I recognize the mark for?
Good questions. The second question, do you recognize the Domon? Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
No. You've seen some of the members of House Domont. You've never seen the head. Very few people outside the actual house will have ever seen the head. As far as this doesn't sound like the pulsing, but it kind of feels like it. Go ahead and roll me just a straight up intelligence with advantage.
If I crouch or not crouch, just bend over and put my hand on the ground, do I feel the ground vibrate, or is it still kind of just solid ground? You don't feel the vibration, you just hear it.
You're not feeling the ground vibrate at all, which again, because the ground is metal, it would carry vibrations very, very well. So,
Yeah.
like stepping and stuff like that, you can feel, but this sound isn't creating vibrations.
Okay.
Would you?
I got 21.
Okay. As you listen more intently, it's not a thumping. It's the sound of a heavy liquid dripping.
Like, does it remind me of Frenchie thing back at Dark Wars?
Sorry, didn't get the question. What was it?
The Rick will remind me of the dripping from the Frenchie wall thing back at Dark Wars.
Kind of. To be honest, this sounds like when you guys went to the basement and you saw all the people in the
Yeah.
seems very similar sound-wise to the sound of blood dripping, but it's different in some way. You're not sure what. And the fact that you could hear it so clearly and you don't see anything dripping very nearby, it would require some sort of echoing chamber to be that loud from far enough away that you couldn't see it. If that makes sense. As you're all kind of standing there, you suddenly hear. And I would like everyone to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
This against being charmed?
Nope.
Okay.
Or no, Constitution, sorry. Not wisdom, Constitution.
Oh, that's so much better. Cool.
Yeah.
I hope so.
No, it's lower for me.
I think we lost Vala.
Probably.
Gotcha. Alright, so we'll go with Vala.
8.
Okay. Henri.
20, not natural.
Argenta.
22.
Damn. Commander.
Me too as well.
All right, and Lillian.
Was it one?
All right. Everyone but Commander and Argenta, you can't move. You're not paralyzed or anything like that. You physically cannot move your bodies whatsoever. As you hear the clapping continue, you guys all kind of look up at the dais, and no one on the dais is moving either. It's simply amazing to me how wrong you always seem to be. And you see a dark form start walking in from another hallway different from the one that you guys just entered from. Or you hear, since you're not looking in that direction, you can't see. First, you decide that you no longer want me or my family to be a part of this council. Then you go and just completely ruin this country, make it nearly unlivable. You allow peasants to live on their own, to be able to rise up against you if they wanted to. And you let Valakovia exist? And for Fenrish, you haven't enslaved the entire pop. You have failed so amazingly. And you keep hearing footsteps get closer and closer.
Do I recognize this voice?
Yes, you did.
It's God, who this is.
You feel a hand on your shoulder, Henri. I personally understand how hard it is to find good help. and you feel pain as he squeezes some pressure points around your neck. This one right here was a great employee until he wasn't. So much to trouble. But you had the answer right in front of you. And yet, you could only focus on the ability to contact your old family? I mean, this just, it blows my mind. It was so easy to get you to agree to this when you thought he was going to help you. Contact your grandpa. Maybe get some more people versus Sanguinius, but you weren't thinking enough. And you totally didn't see that Valakovia was just as eager. And so was Fenrish. But you didn't even know about it. Well, not all of you. I mean, obviously, Lord Artois, you know about it, but you've never really had issues with making deals with the devil, did you? What? I can't hear you. Oh! You can't move or speak. Silly me. You guys see the Dark Lord stroll past all of you. I've got to say, watching you all grasp at straws, come up with, I've got to say, brilliant plans for me. Like, some of the things you guys thought I was doing are inspired. It's too bad that you couldn't see the forest for the trees. You know, this used to be mine. This was my castle. And then they got squeamish when I started realizing what real power was. And so they decided they didn't want me anymore. They got rid of my house, got rid of everything. They took my beautiful castle. But they didn't know what they were doing, did they? No, they didn't know how long I'd been planning this. They didn't know all the things I had done to this castle to make it mine. No, they knew nothing. By the way, Shooty Boy and the amazing Planar Dolt.
Oh, hi there. Been a long time.
Yeah! Has been. I know you resisted. So you don't have to stand there so quiet. In fact, I'll let you ask me whatever you want. It's too late anyway. But go ahead. Ask away. There you have a captive audience. Don't you?
What are you going to do here?
What am I going to do here? I am creating a paradise. Nothing more, nothing less.
What is paradise to you?
Paradise and no one steps out of line.
So you've been the one behind all of these planar rifts recently?
Oh, not at all. I stopped doing my own research 100 years ago? No, it's far too messy. No. They were doing it for me. And all it took was accidentally letting them discover a page or two of a notebook they didn't know about, whet their appetite, make it seem like they were the only people that knew about this. It was actually really impressive that it worked. In fact, I only had to actually speak to someone once. And I've got to admit, the king of Valakovia is a great guy. Deranged, a little bit short-sighted, and a horrible judge of character. But he ate it up. Was even willing to murder his own people to keep the secret from coming out. I mean, how brilliant is that? I didn't even have to do it. He came up with it all on his own. All it was, a simple conversation with him. Let him think that he beat me. That he somehow got information from me he shouldn't have. He was so easy. And they did all the research I needed. See, the vampires, they were able to figure out what was necessary to get the gates running. The Valakovians, well, they got the aim right. They were able to kind of pinpoint where things are supposed to go and actually start changing the area around the portal into something more fun. But the Fenrish, that's where things get interesting. You see, I needed something that could last. I needed something with longevity, and oh boy, did they pay off in spades. See, blood magic is so unique. It's so interesting because you're not using the weave. You're not begging the weave to just work in the way you want it to. No. You are changing the rules of creation. And somebody's gonna get hurt when you're doing that. But the Fenrish found out. You keep that hurt going. And so does the magic! Then I just had to have it to the test run, which you guys were great for. I mean, you put that to the test run through its paces so well. I wasn't even expecting the dragon. Oh, you guys have been so helpful. Thank you so much. Other than you, and he slaps Henri across the face. You were not helpful.
So helpful that you'll let us leave this place?
Leave? Who wants to leave? No. You're all gonna leave. You're all gonna leave with me. You're coming to paradise. I've got to reward you for all the hard work you did. No, you're all gonna come with me to paradise. And here's the best part. You know those people
The ones you keep in the back of your mind? The ones that keep you going? They're coming too. They're gonna be what keeps paradise running. And these ones, obviously, they're gonna be there. Oh, you guys, it's gonna be so amazing. It really is.
You
Vala
bored
is
yet?
currently. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Vala right now is just straining with every ounce of her being to go like Dark Phoenix right now.
You see the Dark Lord come over. Oh, look at that! And he comes really, really close to you. Are you angry? Are you upset? It touches my heart that you care so much that it would upset you this much. So, what do you guys think? Are you excited?
Honestly, I'm kind of bored. What do you think, Argenta?
I just kind of shrug.
Yeah, same here. And I'll pull out my gun and start shooting.
Okay. Make some attack rolls.
I'm gonna kind of break this up a little weird. I'm gonna make 2 shots normal. The third shot, or no, sorry, 1 shot normal. The second shot, I'm going to reload with one of those anti-magic bullets
Okay.
and shoot with that when the second shot.
Okay. Go ahead and
So,
make your.
so that means I'm blowing my action surge. So yeah,
Go for it. Unload.
24 for the first.
Did it definitely hit?
Okay. Damage. Where's my damage?
To make things easier on me, go ahead and roll all your attacks. Add up the regular bullet damage is 1, and then the magic bullet damage is a separate one.
Okay. Crap.
Unmagic bullets.
I did see the bullet actually hit him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not only did it hit him, it went in. You see, you haven't shot a ton of vampires, but you dealt with enough that you know. Normally, if you were to just shoot someone, you see blood could come out. Since vampires have this issue with blood,
Yeah.
he didn't really bleed as much, but it definitely hit him.
Okay. The first one was 11 points of damage.
Okay.
The second one was a 24 to hit. So that one, and that one is 10.
Okay.
21.
Do you have a couple more, Commander?
Oh yeah, sorry. I have the other one. That's that. I'm stuck on the other one. Sorry.
That's fine. Go ahead and make the rest of your rolls.
Well, because I only have 2 attacks, so I used the second attack on my first one to reload, so I only have 1 more shot.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so is that everything then?
The second one's a 15, so it misses.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's all.
All right. So you see that the 2 bullets go in. You see him kind of get shot by them, and he kind of goes down, and he looks back up at you, goes, "Ow! That hurts. That really hurt. That boomstick of yours. Wow. Just wow. No. If the magic hadn't already been cast, that would have been bad. In fact," and he waves his hands, and all of you can move again. "Go ahead and do whatever you want. It's too late."
Oh God, he's gone full mayor.
It's already happening. Now, you, Portal McPortal Face, you might be wondering why you can't feel anything. Because, you have this thing where you like portals. And if I'm doing something with these portals we've been making, why can't I feel it? Well, it's because you care about different planes that already exist. But if I make my own, then how is that any different than where we are now? We're not traveling to a different plane. We're going home.
Hey, Jody.
Yeah?
You said we could move again, right?
Yuppers.
Okay. Because Henri would not hesitate in the middle of that speech to summon the whip and go apeshit on him.
Yeah.
Make your... Go ahead and anyone that wants to, just to kind of speed things along, you have no problems hitting him. He's not wearing any armor. Your attacks seem to be affecting him. It's not like he's resisting the damage or somehow shrugging it off. Every time you hit him, he cries out in pain. You're even seeing small amounts of the very, very thick ichor that pumps through vampiric veins starting to drip out of him as you guys unload these attacks. And he just doesn't, like, he seems to be dying, and he just doesn't seem to care.
So after my attacks are done, I want to book it out of this room to whichever direction I can hear the strongest of that sound, of the pulsing sound.
Okay. As you start to run, the doorway that you guys came from, suddenly a deluge of blood starts falling from the ceiling, completely cutting off that door. There were a total of 3 doors that led out, 2 that were staircases down, and then 1 that was a set of double doors. And all of them are now just torrents of blood are pouring from the ceiling, cutting them off. Good try, not fast enough! And now he's become hysterical, just laughing maniacally and not stopping.
The roof, you said it was like natural light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Commander, shoot the roof out.
Gladly.
It's not the roof, there are windows all around near the top.
Okay. Just shoot one of them out.
I shoot one of the windows that's hitting him.
Sure. As you shoot it, the glass shatters and then hangs in the air. As you look outside, you don't see the sky that you're suspecting. You see this swirling realm of chaos is the best way to describe it. You see what looks like stars and galaxies flying around outside it. See? It's already started! Look! And he looks down at his hands, and you see he's slowly starting to kind of fade away. It's already happening.
I will hit him with a guiding bolt.
Okay.
And say, Celeste says hi, bitch.
Okay.
You said it automatically hit, or
Normally it would. As you fire it, it goes through him as he becomes more and more translucent. And suddenly he vanishes. The room itself starts to move. It almost feels that you guys are on a ship on rough waters as everything starts shifting left and right. The various vampire lords now start moving again. Artois turns to you. What have you done? And you see him grasp his heart as you see him start coughing up blood. You see Valois pull out her rapier and ready it when she suddenly grips it at a strange way, and you watch her arm to twist and bend. You watch all of them as their skin starts to rip into the tear as they cry out in pain and just dissolve into blood and nothingness.
Vampirism's a hell of a drug.
As that happening, I go I mean, it up to you whether I get it quick enough, but I go work for the boss would and say, you can't take this from me and I'll try to get this and keep dissolving.
Okay. I didn't get all of what you said to her. You said you can't. What?
Well, I'm talking to the Dark Lord,
Oh, okay.
and I'll say you can't take it away from me,
Okay.
and I'll try to make an attack against her.
Oh, sure. Yeah. This one I'll actually have you roll an attack roll because she's not trying to be hit here.
That would be a 14.
As you go up and you try to slice at her, as your blade comes to where it would make a contact with her skin, she dissolves and you hit nothing but air. I liked that though. That was super cool. So all of you now seem to be alone in this room. You can see cracks starting to appear in the floor, and then you guys all suddenly start feeling very, very warm. Like
I'm gonna be as close to Vala as possible in case I need to teleport us out.
Okay. As you're sitting there and happening, you guys start looking, and your skin is damp from all the blood falling everywhere, and it kind of glistens in the light, even with the red tinge to it. But the glistening starts to get brighter and brighter, and you eventually start seeing you are glowing. And the light gets brighter and brighter and brighter until everything stops. Commander, since you unloaded a full gun,
Uh-oh.
you feel dirt on your face. You kind of blink a bit, and dirt gets in your eyes as you kind of sit up, dust yourself off. You look around. You're on the side of a dirt road. you look around the area, something seems off. You look further down the road, and it seems that there's a small town down there, but the architecture is weird. Looks almost sanguinian, but not quite. As you look around for the rest of your party, they're not there. Seems no one is near you. You seem to be in a kind of open field with a road river running through it. But as you look away from the city, you can't look more than about 200 yards away because there's this fog. It seems almost impenetrable.
Do I recognize the road or the town?
No, there are parts of it that seem somewhat familiar, but there are also parts that seem completely alien to you. Like again, there's hints of the kind of Gothic architecture of Sanguinius, but it's mixed with something you've never seen before.
Do I still have everything that's mine on me?
You go and you check. You seem to. You look for Fury. It's still there, but it's covered in grime. Like it's been a while since you've actually done any upkeep on it.
I open up the barrels. How many shots are there?
There are how many shots were left when you finished firing?
Two.
Two. There are two left, but the bullets themselves are rusted. You think that the shots are probably not useful anymore. Again, it looks like someone has not been treating your gun well.
I stand up and look at myself. Really, are my clothes still? Are they aged as well, or?
Kind of. They don't look new, but they weren't new before.
And what about my swords? Are they kind of rusted as well?
As you take these as a sword out, there's not quite as much wear to them because they've been kept in scabbards, which are designed to protect them. But definitely the hilt has a bit of grime on it. Again, like it hasn't been used or cleaned in a long time. We're talking months, if not close to a year.
And you said that fog is surrounding behind me and around the city, or just behind me?
So the fog is, if we say this as a city is north of you, the fog is to the south, and it seems to stretch to both ends of the horizon.
Okay. I'll start carefully making my way toward the city.
As you could come into this city, no one's here. All the houses are boarded up. There's a few signs that somebody does live here, in the fact that you can see what looks like the remnants of smoke out of one or two of the chimneys, though it's obvious that there's no longer a fire or anything putting out smoke. It's the remnants of a fire.
And there's just one house doing that, or is there a couple you said?
It's a small village. So as you walk in, there's two houses on your left. There's the three on the right, and the road kind of curves in and goes to the rest of the small village. Overall, the village itself can't be more than maybe a couple of 1,000 feet in the diameter. There's a small kind of wrought iron fence that encircles most of the town.
But how many? You say there's smoking chimneys.
There's one or two that you can see some smoke coming out of that. But by the time you are able to see it, have stopped smoking. But because the fire's been out for a little bit.
I'll go to that nearest one that I saw that was, and try and see if I can find anyone.
Okay. As you come to the house, the house seems kind of dilapidated, but relatively decent shape. You don't see anyone there. All the windows have curtains, so you can't see in them.
Can I check the front door, see if it's locked?
Try the front door. It's definitely locked.
And it feels real. Like this is this. Okay,
As real as you can tell.
that's disconcerting. Do I see like a main, like similar to Valco, but like the cities where there's a main central building?
You see the roads you're on curves. If there is a central anything, it will probably you'd probably have to follow the road. Right now, you have buildings in the way and the things like that.
I'm not going to follow on the road.
Okay.
I'm going to be off to the side, trying to be as careful and quiet as I can, because
with the way how this specific part of the city is built, each house has its own little fence around it, and each one of the fences connects. So there really isn't a way to go off the road unless you're jumping fences and going through people's property.
Oh, okay, of course.
Yeah, they're relatively tightly packed in this particular area.
Okay. And I don't hear anything. No people, no nothing.
Nope.
I'll fire off a shot just in the air, just to see if anything moves or scatters or anything like that besides the basic wildlife, if there is any.
Okay. As you fire off a shot, it echoes. Or actually, did you reload?
I have four shots. There's 2 barrels are empty, 2 are full. Oh, sorry. No, you're right. They're rusted. I'm sorry. I forgot. Yes, I will empty them and reload.
Okay. So you fire off the shot. You feel a shifting when you fire it, and the shot misfires.
Crap.
As you look at the gun, it seems one of these screws holding things in places has shifted, and the gun has effectively misfired.
I'll take a minute and fix it.
Okay. So you sit there and you take your tinkerer's tools out. You fix it. You clean it up a little bit, and it looks like it should work now.
I'll give it, okay. I'll hold it a little farther away than usual.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and give a shot off, see what happens.
The shot rips. This is a sound rips through the town. You look around. Make me a perception check.
That's not terrible. Perception 17.
Looking around, you don't see anything at first, but as you keep looking, you do see the curtains on one of the houses seem to be swinging slightly, as if someone had recently touched them.
Which house is it? compared to where I'm at?
It's across the street from you.
Okay. I will quietly make my way over to not the front door, but I'll see if I can't make my way around towards the back.
Okay. As you get to the back of the house, the back yard of the house has a slightly higher fence all around it, and it does seem that there's a back door there. Again, all the windows, even here, are covered.
I'll hop the fence
Okay.
and made my way to the door.
Okay. Door is locked.
I will knock on the door.
No answer.
I'll call out just to the house, but because I'm pretty sure I saw someone that I saw you. I give you some help. I just need information.
As you say
No.
that, the door clacks, or cracks ever so slightly. We don't want any trouble. We've paid. Just. It's all at the mayor's. I swear, please, just leave us.
I'm not here to hurt you. I need information. I'm lost.
No one's lost. No one leaves. Just go away. They're going to be upset.
Who?
Please, you're going to get us into trouble. Just please go away. And she closes the door.
I will put my foot in the way of the door before she shuts it.
The door was just barely cracked, so you can't like put your foot into it.
Or can I put my foot to the point where she can't shut it?
I get yeah. You could do that. She hits it, and you hear kind of pushing against it. Please, I have children. Okay, I can't afford to lose
I don't
them.
I don't want any harm to come to you or your children.
Then
I want
why
to
are you
find.
doing this.
I'm not doing anything.
Coming.
Who is coming?
And she opens the door and grabs you by the shirt and pulls you in with a lot more of a force than you kind of suspected.
Okay.
And as you come in, you can see 4 kids hiding underneath a dinner table. And she says, "Get down now."
I die.
This is silent.
Okay, I'm quiet.
As you sit in there, you hear the sound of something walking outside. It's large, as far as you can tell, and you hear a scraping sound.
Can I tell? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask if I could tell maybe how large it is by the gate or anything.
Just sure. Make an insights or survival check, whichever you like more.
Well, neither are good, so we'll find out. Nature. It's 12.
So you're not quite sure. You think
Okay.
it's probably bipedal, but beyond that, you're not sure.
Okay.
Seems kind of light. Has someone not been doing their job? We may need to make an example of them. You can see the woman is now cowering in fear. You see tears start streaming down her face. I'm
And
feeling generous. You have 1 week to make up for the lost amount. If it's not here, I will find other ways to make you pay. And you hear the footsteps and the dragging sound going away.
I'm gonna wait till I don't hear the footsteps anymore before I say anything.
It takes about 10 minutes, but they go. You see her kind of wipe her tears up. You see the kids kind of looking at her. She goes, "Oh, okay, it's okay now. You can go back upstairs. Why don't you just play upstairs for a moment? Mommy's going to talk with this nice man. Okay?" And they start going, and she stops what looks like the eldest. "Don't come back down. Whatever you hear, don't come back down." And he kind of nods and goes up. She adjusts herself, kind of dusts herself off. "What do you want?"
Kind of a shocked expression on my face because, I don't have any intent for anything, but
As you kind of sit there for a moment, she goes, "I won't let you hurt them. You can take me, but you leave my children alone.
I don't want to hurt either or any of you.
You were with him."
Who is him? I don't know him.
"How stupid do you think I am? The signs of the Dark Lord are all over you."
Do you have a mirror?
Sure. And she kind of points to a wash basin with a vanity.
Do I look at myself? Do I look different?
Not really different, but you do notice your clothing. Now that you kind of dusted it off, is obviously different than what she's wearing. As you kind of look at her, the colors of the clothing aren't just kind of bland. They almost look like they're massively faded, almost muted. And the fact that your clothing is just a brighter color makes you really stand out when compared to her and her kids.
I don't know how to persuade you, or not persuade you, but make you believe me. But I just woke up literally maybe an hour ago, and I don't remember.
To say that you're one of them. Oh, you can't be here. I can't be a part of this. I please just
wait. What do you mean?
You're one of his guests. Listen, I pay my taxes. I do everything I can. I can't be involved in this. I can't. I can't get close. Don't think about me. Don't. I'm so sorry. I really am. But you need to leave.
Can you at least tell me how many others are there? Do you know of that are these guests?
You're the fifth.
Fifth. Okay, thank you. And I'll leave.
Please leave. Please don't
Leave.
think about me. Don't ever mention me, please.
I won't.
And she kind of leads you back to the back door and very quickly kind of shoves you out, close it. You hear the little lock click.
Do I see Tall, Dark, and Handsome anywhere?
No.
Okay.
But you're still in a backyard that's got like 6 foot high fence around it, so it's hard to see
Yeah.
much of it at anything.
So I'll go to the back fence wall and climb up and see if I can't see him or whatever that was.
Okay. As you could climb up, you can see that there is what looks like maybe like a clearing or a town square. There's something in the middle. It looks maybe like it's a statue, but you can't see from where you are.
Okay. And I can see the fog is around the city too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't encircle the city. It's just to the south.
Oh, okay. I don't want to head the same way he went, or whatever that was went. I will go back to the front.
Okay.
And do I see anything out there?
No. You see a couple of footprints in the dirt road and some dragging marks. Relatively thin, like only about an inch wide.
Going which way?
Going further down the road towards the square.
I'll carefully
Really, where you are, there's really only 2 ways to go. You can go south, which will take you out of the little village, or you can go east because the road kind of curves, and that will take you toward this is a statue.
Yeah, I will quietly make my way and carefully to be hidden as much as I can be in a road that's surrounded by fences, towards that way.
Okay. As you get to the circle, you do see it's kind of almost a roundabout kind of thing, a town square, where the buildings here are kind of made in a circle around this area. You can see 2 other river roads that lead off, and it seems that's really the extent of this village is these 3 roads that all meet at this central location. And as you look at this statue itself, you see standing in plate armor, really well tailored plate armor, holding a sword in one hand and kind of raising his hand in the other, is the Dark Lord. And there's a plaque at the bottom of this statue that says, "Our Lord and Protector. Long may he reign." And that is where we are going to end it for today. So for anyone that was watching this, if you missed any of the episode or any of the other episodes, feel free to check them out on my YouTube channel. I upload them on Sundays to youtube.com/TrainerJody. And the next time we play, there may be some changes with how the audience views the game. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Otherwise, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.